looking up how to do the Zoom. Okay, there we go.
Right, we're
Ah,
recording now. I was just going to show you the
okay.
back of my shirt. Can you see
Mark
it?
the mic. Yeah, I like it. I like it. That's how now you got the name of the mic because of what you do as far as you're a pastor for pool broadcasting. Is that how that came about?
Yeah, mainly because of um my commentating. That's my main job.
What is the main job?
Uh, commentary on pool.
Commentary. Okay, yes, yes. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. My it, now your accent. What nationality would that be?
I'm English, and I've got some say a slightly Cockney accent because I'm near kind of London. I'm 60 miles from London, right on the coast.
Okay. And so is that where you were born?
Yeah, I was born in Colchester, um, in Essex, big military town. No connections to the military. Just that's where I was
Okay.
born. That's where I was born.
All right. Wow. Yeah. Well, the reason when I heard, when I listened to you in your interview, it was with Kelly Fisher, MBE, and I go, oh, he's got an accent. Aha. So I said,
Nah, Kelly's got the
I
accent. Kelly's got the
have.
accent, not me. She's from
Well, yeah,
sh-
but
she's
if
from up
but
north.
if you go to Pattaya to Thailand, they say you have the accent, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So how is it that you ended up in Pattaya? Is that's where you're at, right? Pattaya?
I've been coming. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, I've been coming here since 1989. I've been here probably. Well, this is the third time I've lived here. I've lived here for a year period three times. One of the main reasons I live here, to be totally honest with you, is the fact that it's so cheap to live here. I mean, my monthly rent with electric and water is about $130.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow, wow. Well, and when I was looking up Pattaya, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous there, right there in the Gulf of Thailand, right? It's
yeah.
so when you're not, in your own location there, doing your work, where do you go in Pattaya to, do some brainstorming or to when you're going to do, I don't know, interviews or something? Can I see there? They have the where is it? One second.
It's okay.
Uh, the different. One second. Got notes going here everywhere. Oh yeah, like to the Anytime Cafe, the Sky Bar Summer Club, or the Collective Pattaya.
Do you know, I quit drinking, quit alcohol 15 months ago. I had a little bit of a health scare. I had a mini stroke, and that was enough to put me off of
Okay.
drinking. And to be honest, I haven't been to a bar in Pattaya for, well, about 15 months. I was never really a bar person anyway. I go to pool rooms where there are bars, and the pool scene, one of the main reasons I'm in Pattaya and not Bangkok, well, Bangkok's slightly more expensive as big cities are, but the pool scene in Pattaya is just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it's tremendous. We've got Double Kiss, which has got uh, nine diamonds. No, sorry, 12 diamonds, including a Bigfoot, 5 by 10. It's got nine predators. It's got a carom table. Um, Obviously, there's a bar there, but I don't drink. Then that same club owns another one called IQ Club, which has five full-size snooker tables, eight Chinese eight-ball tables, a predator table, and two English eight-ball tables. Then there's Mega Break, which has 13 diamond tables. Then there's
Wow.
S1, which has just opened up. They've got 30 Rasson Mr. Sung. They've got one snooker table and 8 Chinese 8 ball tables.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that's just wow, that's phenomenal to have that type of access. Uh, we have not far from me. I mean, like not even 5 minute car ride. Well, we have it's a bar. It's called Break and Run. 36 pool tables. They're all bar box 7 footers. The Valley tables, but they just a couple weeks ago they lost their liquor license, and now they're not open to the public. But they have agreed to stay open for the pool leagues. So they're not open on Friday and Saturday because they don't have pool leagues on those nights, but they're open Sunday through Thursday for the various leagues. And it's that's our biggest venue for pool here. The next size that we played at yesterday in the tournament where I played, they have 2 9 footers, 8, 9, 10, 10 7 footers. So that would be the next biggest venue. Then after that, it just drops down to 4, 3 or 2 tables. And so that really putting a hurting on a lot. And the other thing about the break and run, the pool tables are free. When they're open, it's free. You don't pay any quarters, you don't pay
Wow.
any hourly rate. It's 100% free. It's crazy.
So,
Because I was doing some research on a lot of the pool halls across the United States, and I mean they are anywhere from 12, 15, $18 an hour to one place was up to 130 for Amsterdam Billiards in New York.
I've been
And,
there. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. Oh my gosh, when I saw that, I thought, oh my, I never. But it's because it's a high end, celebrity status type place, and a lot of history there. But um, yeah, you have a lot of access to the pool halls there. There was the one I saw that you had posted on your page that you played at. I can't remember the name of it, but it looked like it probably had about 12, 18 tables. And it's just, and the table quality of tables that we play on, they're not the best. They're usually beat up. Their rails aren't that great. Got table rolls that are really bad. And one bar has 2 diamond tables, and even those they do those free on certain days of the week. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, back to the interview here. Um,
I
so
was
then
just
how
can I
long
can I
have you?
can I just ask you why? Sorry to butt in on your interview. I'm not used to being interviewed. I'm used to asking the questions. Why did your place lose its license, its liquor license? That's disastrous for a pool room.
Well, the guy that owns it, he had a partner. The partner passed away, and he kept the liquor license in the name of the passed away partner for the last 3 years. He got away with it for 2 years, and this year he got busted. And the reason that he didn't put it in his name is because he's a felon, and he can't. You can't put a
Oh,
liquor license in your name here in the United States or in Indiana, and
yeah,
so that's how why he kept doing that, and then got busted, and now we don't know what's going to go on with it. So it's a little sad to find it, see it happening because it's a very, very, very successful bar. It's a over half an acre, 16,000 square foot facility, and they got free darts, they got cornhole, I mean, it's just one of the biggest venues here in the Midwest for us, and now we don't know
what a
what's going to
shame.
happen with it.
What a shame.
Yeah, it really is, and a lot of
So
the bar owners. But yeah, okay, so yeah, back to the interview here. So 1 second, let me look at this one
I've got to
here.
ask you another question while I've got you there. Have you
Okay,
do you play all ball fouls in the league that you play in?
can we do what?
Do you play all ball fouls in the league that you play in?
No.
Okay, good, because I think you'd do a few with that beard of yours. You'd make a few fouls.
Yeah. Well, I grew this beard out because every year people would ask me if I would wanted to be Santa Claus for employee parties or events, and I never prepared for it. So this past year, I did, and I grew it out to be Santa Claus. If I showed you a picture of me in the Santa Claus outfit, I do pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you look good. That's a good
well,
beard.
thank you. I would have been shaved off this past Thursday, but I was sick, so I did. My brother's would have. He's my barber, and if I want to, I didn't want to get him sick, so I had to cancel the appointment. Otherwise, this would be a goatee right now because that's
Wow.
what I'm going to go down.
Can't
Yeah, I'm
you
going to go down to.
can't you have it made into a beard wig so that at Christmas time you can just stick it all back on again or something? That'd be such a waste.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. It grows back probably in about a year's time. Here, it grows pretty fast, but I gotta clean it up because I'm a chef and a grill master,
Oh,
and the place is here. You don't want to have all that going on when
no,
you do that
no.
kind of work. Because I do my own food, get catering, and uh, my mom gets on me about it. Hey, you better clean that thing up. Like,
Bless
yeah,
her.
I know, mom, I know. But okay, all right. So, what I uh, now, how long have you been involved in pool or affiliated? As far as did you start out as a player and then it evolved into commentating? What made you? What was the uh,
Yeah,
timeline on
I
that type of?
I've told this story quite a bit where I remember when I was 7 years old, I saw it on TV. There was a program once a week on a Monday night. I was allowed to stay up late on a school night to watch it. It started at 9 p.m. on BBC Two. It was Hot Black, it was called, and it was actually in black and white the first time it was ever aired.
Wow.
And I used to love watching it, and my family, I used to sit and watch it with my dad, and I would be saying what I thought that they were going to do. And somehow I kind of knew a little bit about it. I don't know how. And then the following year for Christmas, my father bought me a little table, a little 6x3 table that used to go on top of a dining table. And we played for hours, me and my dad. And became pretty good at it. And then when I was 14, there was a local club that allowed me to go in and play. You had to be 16 normally, but I showed promise, so they let me go in. And then when I was at this round about the same time, my father bought a restaurant called the White House, believe it or not, because our name's White, so we called it the White House. And
Well, okay, yeah.
yeah, and we had like a little social club upstairs. We had a couple of pinball machines, we had a gaming machine, and we had a snooker table, full size snooker table, and a pool table. And my dad could never get me off it. I used to be on it all night long, and I can remember staying up once. I think I must have been about 15 or 16. And I used to do the line up, and I got my first ever 100 break doing the line up. And I
Wow.
would I would walk along the seafront early morning. I hadn't been to bed. I'd walk along the seafront and pretend that
Wow.
I'd just become world snooker champion, and I'd be interviewing myself and asking me myself questions, answering the questions. And I also could have been a professional footballer as well. I had trials for Millwall when I was 14 as well, and went and trained with our nearest club, which was Southend United, or the nearest club that had ties with Millwall. So, but then I soon found I started smoking and I started drinking, and my fitness wasn't good enough. So I failed as a footballer. I kind of just quit it because couldn't see myself going anywhere with it. So I decided to give my all to snooker, and I became pretty good. Um, I was my local town champion in 1978 when I was 16. Then I finished eighth in Essex, which was pretty good at the time as well, because it was quite a strong, um, area for snooker. Obviously, it's where Davis comes from. It's before them, but it was where Davis comes from, and Ronnie O'Sullivan comes from there. Lots of good players have come through Essex, Tony Mio, and amongst others. So snooker was always my love, and then my next lucky break came when my nearest snooker centre, which was in Clacton-on-Sea, 9 miles away, it was purchased by two professional referees at the time who were on TV all the time. And it was, it was kind of a cool thing. And we used to get all the professionals coming to visit, like Tony Knowles, Jimmy White, Tony Mio, Steve Davis, Ray Reardon, all the big names of the time all used to come there to do exhibitions. And I actually beat both Jimmy White and Tony Knowles, in the exhibition one frame matches. I beat both of them, had some pretty good breaks against them. Uh,
Wow.
and then I became these two guys that ran the club were also coaches. So I took a coaching course with them. And then we started coaching. We'd have students come from Holland and Belgium for 10 days at a time. And we would coach them. And at the end of it, we would have a tournament. And then to reciprocate, I would then go over I went to Holland actually. I never went to Belgium. I went to Holland to do exactly the same. And we actually ended up with a local school in Clacton called Clacton County High. They actually made they made snooker a choice of sport on their list of sports that you can do. So we also had schools visiting our snooker centre
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, and
Right.
Friday. So yeah, that was kind of my into snooker. And then once again, I realised that I was never going to be good enough. I was never going to make a living at it. I made plenty of century breaks, but I think I made 19 in my life, whereas pros make 19 a day. Do you know what I mean? It's just different class.
Well,
So I was never good enough, but my love for the sport has always been there. My love to learn it and to teach it has always been there. And then I kind of drifted away from Q Sports for 20 years. I had to make a living. We all have to make a living. So I went and got a proper job, and snooker never
oh,
came
wow.
into it. I might have played the odd league night here and there, but nothing really serious. And
Yeah, I
then,
mean, 'cause you started out so strong, so young. I never had that type of exposure. I wish I would have had something like you did growing up, 7 years old and having a table at home. But I came from my dad had 9 siblings, my mom had 7 siblings, and nobody ever owned a pool table. I can never figure that out. I'm like, how
wow.
the heck did a family of our size, no one ever owned a pool table? I mean, I didn't get started in it until I was 19, 20, 21, going to the bars and playing with my friends. But that was just, recreational. It wasn't competition level.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I didn't become competitive until 2009. And so it's not that long ago. And I wish I would have had something like you did, exposure. 7 years old. I hear these stories about people that get started so young, and it's like, wow, I can't imagine that having that. I was in sports. Me and my family were athletes, so football, wrestling, soccer, boxing. That was our outlet.
You were
But
the
I would have,
wrestler. You were the wrestler, right? Were you the wrestler?
yes,
I thought you might have been.
yeah, I was. I wrestled. I played rugby. I played football, soccer, boxing, uh,
Wow.
track. Yeah, all the rough stuff. We come.
Yeah.
I have all brothers, and all of us. I have brothers who are state champion wrestlers. One brother wrestled for Ohio State University. There, two of them were pro MMA fighters. One wrestled for Bellator. So yeah, it's a strong following in my family. But now, do you have siblings?
I have an older sister, 2 years older than me, and I have two brothers, one brother 2 years younger and one brother 6 years younger.
Okay. I'm the
Yeah.
oldest out of four boys,
Ah,
but
okay.
yeah, it's all boys here. So, yeah, all right. Well, back to how you, okay, if you would, yeah, go ahead and pick up what you were talking about when you got back after the 20 years away.
Yeah, so I kind of I missed it. I always like I've never missed, I don't think, a World Championship snooker. I've watched it every year since it was first televised in 1977, I think it was. So I've never missed one of them. But then as I got older, I kind of become, snooker, if you don't play it for that amount of time, it's such a difficult game, but by far the most difficult cue sport in my opinion. Um, and it's very kind of, in England when you play it, it's played in clubs where there's no music, there's no one drinks alcohol. It's pretty serious. It's very quiet, and I didn't want that anymore. I'm like 40 years old by now, and I'm thinking I don't want to do this anymore. So the the snooker center that I told you that I worked at, all those years later, they'd built upstairs and put in some more snooker tables up there, but they also put in four American pool tables, Brunswicks from memory. And I was introduced to nine ball for the first time. And I can remember thinking, oh, this is easy. Pockets are big. Okay, the balls are big, but you can put the one first. As long as you hit the one, you can make the nine. So obviously, when you first start, you're trying to combo the nine all the time. I soon found out how difficult it was. Of course, it wasn't easy at all, um, but it was more fun. There was music playing, everyone was drinking and having a laugh, and there was killer games, and it was more of a party atmosphere, a bit more like darts than that way towards darts than snooker. So it. I just fell in love with that game straight away. I played a lot of English eight ball anyway. We all play that in pubs.
Yeah.
Nearly every pub you go in has got a pool table in it. So I still played a lot of that. I was pretty good at that, obviously because of my snooker background. Um, so yeah, for the next kind of 10 years, all I did was that. But I'd been to Thailand back in 1989 when I was 27 years old. And the snooker scene here, not so much the pool scene, but the snooker scene was very big. And I found this right on the beachfront. There was this hotel called Mike Hotel. And right on the top floor, they had three snooker tables. And while other people were on the beach, and I was up in the snooker rooms while everyone was out at the bars and that, and the beach. I was upstairs in these snooker rooms, gambling with all these Thai snooker
Uh-huh.
snooker players, and I was still pretty good at it. And I lost some, I won some, just about enough of each, to keep everyone happy. I don't want to be taking
Yeah.
anyone's money. So yeah, so that I kind of knew there was a good cue sports scene here. James Wattenaar, of course, was a very well-known snooker player in England. He won a major title in England and played in the World Championships a lot. So then some years later, if I could just jump forward now to 2014, I came here again and lived in Pattaya for a year, where I found a local pool room called Legends and spent all of my time in there. And I got pretty good at nine ball, played in the leagues, started to play in a few tournaments, won a couple here and there, no, not big money, but just small money, enough to keep me interested to play the next tournament. And then that was kind of it as far as Paul went. And I'm getting to my big break now where 2018, I was back here again for another year, and another pool room had opened called Double Kiss, the one that I was just told you about, which has all the diamonds and the
Oh yeah,
predators.
yeah, that's the one I saw. Okay.
Yeah,
Double
Double
kick,
Kiss.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really a beautiful room. It is the best one here. It's stunningly beautiful. It's well kept. The tables are reclothed every 6 months, I would say.
Really?
Terrific
Oh,
lighting, great balls,
look,
great staff, always
it looks
immaculately
immaculate.
clean. Yeah, it's immaculate. And they're always spending money on it to improve, and it's beautiful air conditioning. Everything's great about it. And I just happened to be in there, and there was a guy from the Philippines called Rolly Baron. And he run a little streaming service back home in the Philippines called Batang Tirador, which translates from Filipino to English as young hustler. And what he does is he searches around the Philippines for really young talent, good pool players, and then nurtures them and,
Okay.
arranges challenges for them and stuff like that. But he also streamed a lot of them as well. So he had a streaming uh, business as well. Not a big business, but he did streaming as well. And they came to Bangkok for, sorry, they were in Pattaya first. The In 2018, there were qualifiers for the Chinese 8 ball, the big event that they do, the Masters in China every year. They were holding a qualifiers in Bangkok. So this guy, Rolly Baron, before I even knew him, literally stood up in Double Kiss and said, is there anybody in here that can speak English and can commentate on pool? So I stuck my hand up because I always do for everything.
Wow.
Hopefully I can do it. If I can't, well, at least I found out I can't, but at least I tried. So I got the job, and I went to Bangkok and we had the qualifiers, and it turned out that I was okay at it and people liked me, and the guy, he liked me. And then of course COVID happened in 2019.
Nice.
So I'm back home. I flew back to England for COVID. I was living here, but I flew back to England because it's kind of best to be in your home country if you might be sick or whatever with a pandemic going on. No one knew how bad it was be. Anyway, so I decided to go back there. And a lot of these online challenges started, these ghost games. And then you'd have two guys in different countries playing a racket 10 ball or 9 ball or whatever, and they would break. And then they would either take ball in hand or play from where they were for 15 points or 10 points if they ran the table. So this Rolly Baron again messaged me on Messenger and said, would you be interested in doing some commentary on some of these matches that I'm doing? He said,
Right.
I can't really afford to pay you any money, but it might lead to something. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? I'm doing nothing else. So set up my laptop and bought myself a microphone, and I was commentating on these challenge matches. And then I got a stroke of luck. I was I was on a podcast called Cue It Up in from America. Do you know Nate Mindham?
What was that?
Nate Mindham. Do you know Nate Mindham or not?
No, no, I don't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, well, he has a podcast in America called um, Cue It Up, and he was doing lots of these online challenges. So I jumped in the chat on these challenges, and I kept coming up with some funny little remarks and stuff like that. And I said, oh, I'd like to try and commentate. So I did a little bit of commentary, and then my next bit of luck happened where, do you know Mike DeMarco from Ship the Cash?
No, I'm not all that
Okay.
familiar with a lot of the names
Okay.
in the billiard world. I'm a newbie.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, until 5 years ago, I was really, to be honest, I couldn't have told you one player name apart from maybe Shane Van Boning and Earl Strickland. That was about the depth of my
Right. I
knowledge
know.
about 5 years ago, you know. But anyway, so I no, I'll tell you what happened. There was another guy called Jay Garrison in America who made a no, I've gone too far now. Go back to Mike DeMarco, Ship the Cash. So I got a call from him and said he'd been watching some of my commentary and he liked it. Would I be interested in commentating on, there was still COVID going on. There was Sky Woodward, Billy Thorpe, Roberto Gomez, Chris Reinhold, who was Chris Robinson at the time, and Danny Olson. And it was like a five-way challenge. There was some Scotch doubles, some singles. And so I joined that. And the main guy, the commentator that was in the room, was a guy called Joey Ryan, who had his own podcast called Paul Player Podcast, where he would do very, very serious, in-depth interviews with famous players. He's got about 35 or 40 great interviews on his Paul Player Podcast. And it so happened that he was the commentator. So I'm thrown in with this Joey Ryan to commentate. And he told me afterwards, he thought, what's going on here? I'm being joined by some English guy from across the channel. I don't know him, and we're going to be commentating together. But anyway, it turned out that we worked so well together and it was really good fun. We had a great laugh. And afterwards I said to him, look, I've got this idea for a podcast. Would you be interested in doing it with me? So he said, well, I would, because I'm not doing so many of mine anymore and they're real serious, but I want to have some fun and do some more fun stuff. So I sent him my ideas and said, look, this is what I want to do. So he said, I like the sound of that. Let's do it. So we started a weekly podcast called The Booth Brothers. And we had our logo with the Blues Brothers, but our faces called the Booth Brothers because we both commentated in the booth. And
Oh, cool.
the podcast become quite popular as well. Then
Now, what on your podcast? I mean, what were a lot of your topics of discussion?
oh, it was crazy stuff sometimes. I mean, we used to do the topics of the week, of course, the usual, but I used to like to do some more off the wall stuff. So, I would I mean, we had Sky and Billy on together once, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to have Sky and Billy's mum on together, which mums. So we had Amanda Thorpe and Deborah Woodward on, which was fun. Um, so we used to do different things, and I used to write. I invented this alter ego called Two Piece Q. He was a rapper, and I used to write a rap song about every guest that we had on. I would write a rap song about them. So I
Okay.
did I did one about Sky and Billy and called it, they had their mullets at the time. So I called them the Mullet Brothers, and it was a rap about their mullets. So I did some crazy off the wall stuff, and Joey stuck to the more kind of journalistic side of it, and I was just the stupid one. We were like
Right.
a double act really. But that kind of fizzled out, and but I carried on doing remote commentary. This was all during COVID still. But one of the people who saw me, which gave me my first big break, really, was David Al-Qaedi from Spain, right? and he was hosting. He had a TV channel called One Pool TV, and he was organising an online tournament for all the women. So he called it the Women's World Championship online. So they're all playing in their
Mm.
own rooms, but it was great fun. It was really, really good. Um, and it was won by, I believe, it was won by Margaret Fefilova. It might have been, or it might have been Jasmine. I can't remember who won it. Anyway, but all the big names were in it, and that's where I first met Kelly Fisher and became. I'm now really good friends with Kelly Fisher. She's probably my best friend on the tour out of anyone. Jason Shaw's a good friend of mine as well. Um, yeah, so I did that, and then I got spotted by another guy in America, who made a. I mean, I'm famous for saying stupid things on microphone. Really, I done. So he kind of done like a blooper reel. All my mistakes, he put all into a recording and put it onto
Okay.
his to his Instagram. He had a very, very big Instagram page at the time. So that kind of went a little bit viral. So more people knew who I was, but mainly because I was this stupid English guy who called Jasmine and Albin Ocean husband and wife instead of brother and sister. Those kind of things, those kind of faux
Oh,
pas. Um, but then one day on the tell me if I'm talking too much, because once I start I can't stop. Um, so my next real break come. We had Ozzy Reynolds from Q Sports International. We had him on the podcast. Do you know Ozzy Reynolds at all or not? He owns CSI, Q Sports International. They run the big Q Sports International Expo, which goes on in Vegas every year. It's like 310 bar box tables, 50 booths, 6,000 players, all playing the
wow.
BCA, also playing the
Ooh,
BCA leagues and American Pool League. Um,
yeah.
and then Predator started running their Pro Billiard Series events alongside them as well. So we'd have the men's and women's Las Vegas Open. We'd also have the men's World 10 Ball there at the time, and that's really grown now. I mean, it's huge now. That event is there's like 8 events this year. It starts in a couple of weeks actually on the 19th of February. It starts, which I'm commentating on remotely. I won't be going there. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, so we had Ozzy Reynolds on, and I wrote this stupid rap about him, and I was this crazy Englishman. And I basically said to him in the interview, I said, I want a job. I want to be a commentator. So he said, well, I'll put it in writing, send me some clips of your commentary, and we'll get back to you kind of thing. Kind of, I think he took it with a little pinch of salt, maybe. But anyway, I sent him my CV as such and basically told him everything that I'm telling you. And he said, look, he said, I can't offer you any commentary work this year, but if you'd like to come to the venue, I'll give you a hotel room for the 10 days. I'll give you a booth where you and Joey, the Booth brothers, can set up a little booth and you can do player interviews and stuff like that. And if you can help me out in any way, then that'll be good as well. But you just need to get yourself there. So this was still during COVID, or just as COVID had just finished, but we were still having to wear masks and we were having to get COVID tests to fly on an aeroplane.
Mm.
I
Wow.
actually flew to your home. I've actually flew to Mexico to quarantine for 2 weeks. I sold my car that I had. I had no money, so I sold my car. I had about $3,000 when I left England.
Wow.
So I went to the Rio in Las Vegas. Um, Ozzy, I met him there. He said, "Remember when you said you will do anything?" I said, yes. He said, did you mean it? I said, yes, I meant it. I will do anything. So he said, clean toilets. I said, I'll clean toilets. He said, no, 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 no. I'm not going to get you to clean toilets, but would you clean tables? Would you clean the pool tables? The not the 300, the I think it was 9 at the time. It's grown since then, but we had 9 foot tables, which after every round I would clean. I would clean the balls. Then he said to me, the scoring system's gone down. Would you mind walking around with a laptop and just updating the scores from all the pro tables for me? So I said, of course I will. So then what I did
Oh,
was, as I was going around the tables getting the scores, Joey was back in the booth and I would be live around these tables. So I was doing a bit of roving reporting on a telephone. So I'd have a laptop in one hand, the phone under my shoulder like that, walking around with this laptop, putting scores in and doing and Sky Woodward's at the table. It's gone 3-3. They're in a shootout. Let's stay with this one, Jan. So I started doing a bit of commentary from the tables, and people kind of liked it. And do you know what? We got in 2 days, we had Molina Mike there as well, who used to do his money match kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, so we would be doing all these reports, and then we get the players in the booth and do some interviews with them afterwards. And unbeknown to me, Joey Ryan was asking for donations. You know, if you want to donate anything to help us, here's our Zelle and PayPal. If you fancy giving something. Well, in 2 days, we got $2,700 between three of us. So I got
no.
$900. I got
Wow.
$900, right?
Right. And you had no idea you were going to get anything, right?
No, I didn't. And so that kind of was really cool. So you could say it's the first time I really got, well, the second time I've been actually paid for something, you know, commentary wise or pool wise. And then the last day of the finals of the amateur events the league events that were going on, Ozzy said to me, "Oh, we've been let down in the commentary for the 8-ball finals on the 7 foots. Would you be willing to jump in and do the commentary on that?" So I said, I knew he was testing me. So I said, yeah, of course I will, no problem. So I went and jumped in the booth and he listened, which I found out later. And his girlfriend, now wife, Amy Kane, heard me and she really liked me. She became a fan of mine, which helped because then she was kind of in Ozzy's ear. You know, we've got to have this guy. We've got to have this guy. I think he'll be good for us. And he's different. We've not heard anything like him before. Let's give him a go. But anyway, it came to nothing then. I went back home. And then a few weeks later, I got a phone call from Ozzy Reynolds saying, can you still hear me? Sorry. I'd let my microphone. Can you hear me? Hear me okay?
What's that?
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My microphone slipped away. I didn't know if you could still hear me. So
Oh,
I
okay.
got a phone call from Ozzy saying,
Oh,
how
one
quick could you?
second. 1 second.
No worries.
Uh, well, oh, I had a pop up on my phone for an emergency thing, local.
You
I
okay?
think we got to refresh
No,
because
we're
you
okay.
froze on. There we go. Okay, now I see you.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we're good. I think we're good. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So I got a phone call from Ozzy Reynolds and he said, how quick can you get to Arizona? So I said, as quick as you book me a flight, I'll get there. This was on the Friday. He said, well, the tournament starts on Tuesday. So I said, book me a flight and I'll be there. So he booked me a flight for the Sunday. I went and got a COVID test. I went to the airport. I flew to Arizona. Turned out
Really?
that Jeremy Jones had caught COVID and couldn't commentate. So they were a commentator down. He said, are you? So they said, are you comfortable jumping in and leading? I said, yeah, no problem, which I did. And I've been working for Predator ever since then. And that was back in 2021.
Wow. Wow. And it's just crazy how things happen, right? I mean,
Absolutely crazy.
you didn't plan it, but it just evolved into something that, you know, there was a need for it and you were the demand. That's awesome. No, that's pretty cool. I I never really, I guess when I was growing up, I always listened to Howard Cosell, and I do remember there was a big uh, match, and I think it was Willie Mosconi, and I forget who his opponent was, but I always remember Willie Mosconi and Howard Cosell commentating, and he was just one of a kind. But you know, that's not something I ever looked at doing. I'm a journalist. I like to write and get people's stories and share it with people, and that's pretty cool though that how that happened for you. Interesting.
Yeah,
And now
I
now when did you get the nickname the Mike?
about 2 weeks ago.
He said about 2 weeks ago. Well, because look, I'm the captain of a Monday night APA team, eight ball, and we have eight people on the team, and that's one of the things I said at the beginning. I said, "Hey, we got to come up with a nickname for everybody." I said, all the big name pool players, they all have nicknames. I said, Willie Greenleaf, Earl the Pearl Strickland, all the names out there. And so I said, that's what we got to do for our team. I said, we got to come up with nicknames. And some of them, jumped on it, and the other ones were like, no, no, yeah, I don't know. So that's what I'm doing right now, trying to come up with nicknames for everybody because, that's a part of the game. It's a part of the, fun part of the pool.
Of course it is. And I've actually helped a couple of players with nicknames. There's a great ladies player from Bulgaria called Kristina Zlateva, and she wanted a nickname and she was asking everyone to come up with one. Well, I came up with the Slayer, like the Slayer, but with a Z, the
Yeah, the
Slayer.
player. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's her nickname now. I named Caroline Powell. I gave her nickname, Caroline Kapow, like
Football.
Superman,
Yeah.
Kapow. That's
Uh-huh.
her
Yeah.
nickname now. Do you know one of the few players without a nickname is Jasmine Ocean? She hasn't got one, and she ran this little competition for everyone to come up with a nickname for her, but she still hasn't found one that she likes, which is a
Oh,
little
really?
bit,
Oh,
yeah,
I
sad
didn't
really,
know
because as you say, nicknames are a really big part of Paul. There's some great ones as well. I don't know what your favorite is, but I love Quickfire, Kelly Fisher, Duchess of Doom, of course, Alison Fisher. Then you've got the Black Widow, Jeanette Lee. That's another
that.
great
Yeah.
name. Um, some
I
of
like
the
Savannah Easton's the Roadrunner. Beep beep.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good
That's a,
as well.
that's a fun one. Yeah, I was watching her shoot in the Iron City Invitational last night. But she's uh I have a pool group I belong to on Facebook. It's called Q Full. A friend of mine runs it, and we follow her a lot. A lot of the players around here like her, but she's going to be 15 on February 8th, and I saw yesterday when I was looking at her web Facebook page. She was 11 years old making these bank shots against adult competition, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot fathom
That's
even being
that's
playing pool at
that
that age.
that's when I met her when she was 11 years old. She comes from Vegas, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
in Vegas for the Q Sports International Expo, and I actually stayed with Ozzy Reynolds in his house with him and Amy for uh, about 6 weeks, I believe I was there, and I used to go to a local pool room. I went to Griff's where she plays, but her other
Oh
pool
yeah,
room was
Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah, but she didn't really go there when she was 11, but she played at a place called Banging Balls in Vegas. And actually went to her 11th birthday party in Banging Balls, and they had a tournament for her birthday.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and we did some
Cool.
fundraising, and I think I took her a signed ball from, I think it might have been Josh Villa, and some signed pictures for her to auction off and raise a little bit of money. I've always
Okay.
got on really well with Larry and Tiffany, her mum and dad. They're great people. Spent a lot of time with them when I've been in Vegas. Nice people, lovely, lovely family. And Cameron, the son, who doesn't really get much airtime, but he's a great lad and all. Actually training to be a pilot. He loves
Oh,
aviation.
okay. Oh,
Cameron. So yeah, so he's an avid. I think he was a plane spotter, but now I think he's had some lessons, so he's learning to fly. So they're pretty smart as well, because they're going to have him flying them all over the country for the
right.
different
Yeah, yeah,
tournaments.
exactly. Well, she just had her own tournament in Hawaii, wasn't that not too long ago, a few months ago? That or no, not even that long. It was right at the end of yeah, right in the beginning of January.
Was
But
it
yeah, she's
Hawaii?
very active.
Hawaii.
Yes.
Wow, I've never been there. I want to go there.
No, yeah, no, I know. I mean, either I have an uncle who lives there, but I've never visited. I've never left the continental U.S.
Wow.
But so all right, now let's talk a little bit about the. All right, let me see here.
The weather?
So, when did you get your first sponsor? How many sponsors do you have?
Do you know Predator were my first real sponsor? Um,
Nice, nice.
it turned into a sponsorship kind of because when I told you I started doing these first commentary gigs for them, I used to do everything for them. I mean, I used to go there a few days earlier. I would help them set up the arena. I would help them build the tables before they made them the one slate Predator tables where they went on the carts. But we used
Right.
to build them from scratch and unpack them and pack them back up at the end of the tournaments. We used to take the
Well, you did
perimeter,
all
yeah, take the perimeter lights apart, put them in boxes, send them on to the next one. I used to do all that, and I stayed behind a few times to help them, and they said they paid me, I don't know, $100 or something extra to help them do that a day. And one of the staff said, for all your hard work, we're going to give you a set of cues. Choose any cue you want, any cues, break cue, playing cue, jump cue. Choose what you want. I mean, I didn't really know too much about cue. I played with the 3-1-4 and an odd but. I didn't know what it was before. I just happened to like that before I knew anything about Predator. And so I chose BK Rush, Air Rush, P3 butt with a 3-1-4 shaft. Didn't even go with uh, carbon because I didn't like carbon. I still didn't up till about 2 weeks ago. I tried them all, didn't like any of them. So they kind of turned that into an influencer because they knew I was pretty active on social media. So they made me an influencer. So I signed a 2-year deal with Predator 2 years, just 2 years ago, gone 31st of December 2024, it ran out. So 2 years previous, signed in 23 for 23 and 24. Yeah, that's right, 23 and 24. And then when my sponsorship was up, it wasn't really a sponsor. I suppose it was, but not really. I'm not like a player sponsor, because I don't play that much.
right.
So we had discussions and we didn't really work anything out, but no real animosity, none. It was just we didn't agree on it on something, and we couldn't agree what they offered me, and I didn't agree. Meanwhile, I'd had this offer from Jay Flowers, who saw my potential for my social media, and
Right.
they're a growing company. They're trying to get into the market, and they're enjoying some success now. They've got some very good players on board. They've got Jason Shaw. They just signed him recently. Um, they've got Earl
Yeah. So
Strickland. Earl
have you got
Strickland,
to meet a lot of them? Like Rodney Morris, you got Jason Eagle Eye Shaw, Dennis
Roberto
Robocop
Gomez.
Okoye. They got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
Emily
yeah,
the Bombshell Duddy.
yeah, yeah. We've
Have
got we've
you-
got a few, and they're a growing company, but they're very active in marketing, and they like to do things a little bit differently, as I do. I've always loved doing things differently. Um, when we announced my sponsorship, which is where this background that you can see, that's where this comes from. I had this made. This is actually a 2 meter by 2 meter backdrop, which I had made locally here in Thailand.
Okay.
And I set up loads of microphones along the front and made out that it was a press conference. So
Okay.
I wrote myself questions and invented reporters, and it's on my Facebook anyway. And so yeah, it was like a fake kind of like a mock press conference, which we did
Okay.
launch it, and they got a proper studio for it and a proper editor and sound man and everything. And we did it really professionally. And I thought, I love this. And just day before yesterday, um, the company have just rented a big office space in Pattaya, where I am. And I'm now going to have use of a studio there. So I will be able to go there and do some commentary, do some interviews, do some podcasts, do some photo shoots. And they've even just yesterday put in a new pool table with a perimeter light and where we can make content for videos and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to
Oh,
say is
cool.
that they really go get it, they're really active in their marketing and like to be creative, which I love to do that as well. So all these things influenced my decision to join J Flowers.
Nice. That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and I got a really nice set of cues. I got a really nice um, case to go with it as well. They make, in my opinion, the best case out at the moment, called the Tactical. Don't want to turn this into an advert, but they really do. It's just a fabulous case. Um, and now I'm using carbon fiber, the SMO, which is the Strickland Morris or Colo, which is SMO. That's what that stands for. They helped develop it, and it's a great carbon shaft. And very
Okay.
soon, they're bringing out a wood shaft with carbon technology inside it as well. I've actually got one now as a prototype, which I've been playing with. So what I'm trying to
Oh,
say is
really?
there's lots of good things happening for me and for Jay Flowers. And I'm also sponsored, as you can see, by Town Billiards, the makers of V10 chalk. They've just brought out the blue one, which is why I've got that on there. Makers of undoubtedly, no argument, the best chalk in the world. Not because I'm sponsored by them, but because it is. Anyone is now using it. Actually, just signed Jason Shaw today to Town, which is
Okay.
kind of some
Oh,
breaking
cool.
news as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Shaw is now Town sponsored. Um, and the other company there, you can see Jam Up Apparel, who I've been with. I've stayed with one of the owners, Grant Zemp, and his family. They're great people in Calgary, in Canada. He's one of the owners, and I'm with them just because they make great shirts, and I like the way they do it. They're a two-man band, and their wives, they're great people. Um, put in a lot of time. Plus, they let me stay at their house. So So I've got to
That's
be nice.
great.
I've got to
Wow.
be nice. No, they are. They're lovely people. And they've got a lovely dog called Goose, who I love. So, so yeah, they're my sponsors. And, from them, it's eased my financial worries, so to speak. We all know that the pool industry isn't the best, sport to be involved with if you want to make money. It's not why I ever got into it, and it's still not the reason I'm involved in it. I'm in it because I love it, and I believe if you show all the passion and love for something, then all the other stuff just comes to you anyway, which it does. And
Wow.
I put a lot of this success also down to the fact that about 16 months ago I had a stroke. I was back home in England when it happened. I was 4 days in hospital, no long lasting effects from it. I was lost my speech slightly and use of my arm for a day or so, but very, very mild stroke. So I was lucky, a mini stroke, they call it. I'm on medication now for the rest of my life. But what it did was to make me quit alcohol. I wouldn't say I was a heavy drinker, but I was a heavy social drinker. I'd never drink alone at home or anything like that, but I loved drinking when I went out, and well, I was going out seven
Yeah.
nights a week. um,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah, so I quit alcohol. I started swimming. I got super fit. I lost 8 kilos, about 18 pounds. I needed to lose a little bit. I wasn't big by any stretch of the imagination, but I needed to lose some. Um, I had really high blood pressure, 225 over 130 when they took me in to hospital. So that was really high. Now I've got that down to 120 over 70, absolutely perfect. So I swim a
Wow.
mile every other day. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I haven't done so for 15 months. I eat healthy. I cut out all soda. I don't drink Sprite, Cola, Fanta. I don't drink any of that rubbish. I've cut out sugar as much as I can that I know of. I'm not putting sugar in anything anymore. I don't eat candy anymore. I don't take sugar in coffee, or I might have an ice cream once a month or something, but never drink soda or anything like that. I only drink
Wow.
water. I I eat healthy. I cook most of my food myself.
What
I've
about
done
tea? You drink tea, right?
No, I don't
You
drink tea
drink tea?
anymore. The
What's
the
that?
tea the tea out here is not very good anyway. I never used to be a coffee drinker, never. Back home in England, we drink tea all the time. Whenever I used to go abroad, I would always drink coffee, mainly because you could never get a decent cup of tea anywhere else in the world other than England. So I started drinking coffee when I came here, but I still only have one, maximum two a day sometimes if I'm out at the pool room. But apart from that, I drink water, nothing but water.
Yeah.
And I eat porridge every morning,
Well,
and porridge with
well,
banana.
because you say water, but like, well, I used to work outside in the living for a living in hot weather, so I became a connoisseur of water. You got the bottled waters, you got filter waters, you got artesian water, you got so for me, it's like people that drink wine and people that drink beer, they can taste the difference, and the what they're drinking. It's a different quality, and that's how I am with water. I gotta have good water. I gotta have uh, top quality water. It's got to be artesian if I can. Is that how you are with water, or just as long as it's bottled?
Out here, there's probably, oh, I don't know, 100 different brands, probably something like that. And some of it ranges from, how much is 7 baht? Let's just say 10 baht, 10 baht, 20, about 25 pence a bottle. So it's nothing. It's cheap, right? 30 cents or something a bottle, something like that. Nothing. Um, but so long as it's cold and it's in a bottle, that's basic my options. I've got there's no special water here really. I suppose you can pay extra. You can have Evian or Perrier or something like that. But I read something really interesting the other day that if water has been out in the sunshine, which they do here a lot because they store it outside the shops for a long time here sometimes, and the heating of the water can make the plastic of the bottle react with the water and put chemicals into the water. So sometimes I can taste that if that's happened.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I always told my mom, Mom, you can't leave this water sitting out in the sun, because I
No.
go with her I go with her to get her bottled water because she can't lift them, and I said, "Hey, got to get this in the house. Don't be leaving this in the car unless it's covered up because of that reason right there." You know.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
now there's
I used to sell commercial kitchen equipment for a company, and it was a steamer, and so we used water a lot in the
yeah, yeah.
steamer. And I became very, very, even more so than when I used to work outside. I became more familiar with water for that reason because you go to h2o.com, and oh my gosh, it was just a encyclopedia of water and information. That's why I get excited about talking about water. I know most people don't, but I do.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I was younger and entrepreneurish and looking to make some money here and there was an American company called NSA with a heart in the middle of their S as I can't remember what the NSA stood for now. But anyway, it was a it was kind of like a pyramid selling thing, to be honest. But it was in-house water filters, and I sold them for a while. So I I done a lot of research and that into filtered water, bottled water, all that kind of thing. But sometimes filtered water is worse because you're taking out all the good stuff as well that's in water. So what do you believe? I don't know what to believe these days. You never know, do you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I know, and I should be like you, cutting out my. I don't drink a lot of soda, but I haven't cut it out completely. And drinking a lot more water. I used to the water out of the faucet here. It's a good quality. My city is known for recognized for the quality water that they put
Right.
out of the faucets, but not everybody has access to that, and even then, it's like I still have my, it just sometimes smells fishy. So
Yeah,
it,
and of course they chlorinate the water as well to clean it, and you can smell the chlorine. I mean, we had great tap water where I came from, in Essex. We had beautiful water. That won awards as well. But now they're just so worried about germs and all this stuff that they just flooding it with chemicals to make it safe.
right.
You're just drinking chemicals now. So I don't know. And it's a job to.
Well,
I just go by, if I drink water instead of alcohol, it's one alcohol. I don't know what goes into that either. I don't know what they put in the beer. I don't know what they put in the different drinks, and you don't know the quality of water that they're using in that. So if I can have myself a bottle of water which looks clean, which tastes okay, and keeps me hydrated and my blood pressure down to a certain level, then
right.
it's doing its job. And that,
Exactly.
what more can I
Yeah.
do?
For the health benefits, yeah, you can't beat it. It's that's what I have. I'm diabetic. I have heart condition that happened to me last year, but I'm doing a lot better now. So, but that's the one thing I need to do is it's hard for me to cut out the sugar completely because I love to cook, and my recipes call for different uh, sweeteners, and I cannot do artificial sweetener because it dries my mouth out. I get cotton
That's
mouth from it.
disgusting.
And
That's disgusting. But why can't you use a good quality honey or something in your cooking?
what is it? Good quality what?
Honey.
Oh, honey. Well, it's funny you say that because That's what I use for my tea, honey. I
Well done,
I
mate.
don't use it,
Wow,
but
local
yeah, yeah,
hive. Good.
that is something I could do, but I don't use a lot of recipes that call for sugar much. I'm more of the Mexican food and barbecue and tamales. I specialize in tamales, and
Ah,
uh,
wow.
so uh, I haven't used sugar yet, but I did come across a recipe that calls for some sugar, a cup of sugar. I got to try it. I'm trying to hone in on some recipes, so uh, I can't really use honey for that. But yeah, I do love the honey side of it because the health benefits of honey are amazing. It's crazy how much what all the health benefits of honey. You're right about that. All right, so uh, talked a little bit about Jam Up Apparel because I wasn't familiar with who that was. Tom, and then Shea Flowers Q's, and right now those the ones on your uh, the backdrop. That's everybody you've got right now sponsors, or those are your major ones. Just
No, they are my only sponsors, and I couldn't wish for better. And I'm not talking just monetary wise. I'm talking about, product wise, and I'm talking about support wise. Because they're a smaller company, they're more intimate, and I'm talking to the Asia boss every day. I talk to him, and I'm kind of hands on here, and a lot of people know me, and people come to me for advice about cues, and what would I suggest, and can I borrow
right,
your cue?
right,
So I've got access to all the cues I want. I'm letting people in the local pool rooms that I've told you about, they're using it. I've probably sold 3 cues and a couple of cases just in the last. I've only been with them a couple of weeks, so we're although we're aggressive in our marketing, but that aggressive is the wrong word. We're very active. We like to do things a little bit different and creatively. So that is the first thing that appealed to me about being able to express myself through the company, which they're letting me do. And um, and to be honest, I've started using carbon fiber now. I said I'd never. I used to say, if you ever see me shooting with carbon fiber, shoot me because I will never use it. I don't think it's good. Wood is good. Stay away from carbon. You no feel with carbon. But I've got to say, since I've used the SMO shaft, well, put it this way, I just played a super high roller here recently. 105 players. I finished fifth, and I cashed for the first time ever in a super high roller here. I won about, I don't know how much I won, about $1,000 or something like that. But yeah, so I've got used to the carbon straight away. I really honestly have. I'm not just saying it. It's amazing. It's an amazing shaft. I've got the Jason Shaw, but Jason's just come out with his own J Flowers line called the Eagle Eye, and I'm using his butt and the SMO shaft, and I absolutely love it. And they've just brought out a new break cue called the Loaded, and the new jump cue called the RPG, like rocket
oh
propelled
yeah, I
grenade.
saw that. Yeah.
Great jump cue. I mean, I've got used to that as well within a couple of weeks. So I'm super excited about the equipment. I've got Town Chalk to put on it, who are the best in the business, bar none. They actually make chalk for Predator. They make the pure chalk for Predator. They make Alex Paguline's chalk. They make Mark Williams's chalk. Uh, so yeah, they're making chalk for other companies. They make chalk for J Flowers as well. So they are number one in the world for chalk. Every snooker player uses it now, apart from Ronnie
Well,
O'Sullivan. Apart from Ronnie, he's the only one that doesn't use it. But I think that's just to be different because Ronnie's Ronnie. Uh,
Well, I never, I like I say, I've only been playing since 2009, and early on, I used Master Chalk, the light
Of-
blue. I tried all the different colors, but I don't know why the light blue one is the one that worked for me. And that's what I've been using for ever since then up until 2023. Garrett from Sneaky Pete Mafia magazine sent me some Kamui chalk, the Kajiki Kamui and the Roku 6 Kamui chalk, and blew my mind. I never would have fathomed what these chalks can do because I was stuck on the one I had. But man, when $32 for a piece of chalk, $28, I'm like, I never would have done that. But he sent it to me as a gift, and it's just a game changer for me. I mean, now when I watch these players, and I'm like, they got the carbon fiber shafts, they've got the best tips, they got the best chalk, they got brand new balls every time they're shooting, brand new tables or perfect rails. I'm not used to all that. Where I play, they just now finally put new cue balls on there after 15, 17 years. They do the felt one time a year because of a big city tournament they have there. So I'm not used to all of these things that when you watch these players, they have the best top line everything, and when you have that, your game is going to improve. It's going to be better. It's going to be more on point because you have the best quality products. And I subscribe to I subscribe to a lot of what I'm just now learning, Mark, compared to where you've been, what the different people you've met, the different products you've been able to try. Because you're on site, a lot of times, and you get to meet these people firsthand that are
Yeah.
using all these products and get feedback. I'm not at that level yet, but I'm hoping to get there with Sneaky Pete Mafia magazine, and uh, that's why I'm passionate about. When I write about people like you, Chris Curtis, who I interviewed for last month's cover article, that was great information. Just meeting people like you that have a passion for pool, it's really neat, and I want to become
But
like you. I want to be more involved.
well, you know what? Seeing you now is exactly how I used to be. I mean, not the beard, but but I mean, I used to. I had limited knowledge. I didn't really know exactly what I was talking about, but I made it my business to find out. And I watched Paul and I talked to players, and I never stopped learning. And I live it. And something I've done from day one of getting into Paul, I reply to every single person's message on Facebook. I don't just like it, I respond to it. I join all the groups. I'm a member now of 87 different pool groups around the world. Um, you get so much information from all these different people, players, streamers, sports psychologists, tip makers, chalk makers. I just want to go back to what you was talking about Kamui actually very, very quickly. I want to say Masato is such a lovely guy. He done me a real big favor in Atlantic City, Masato, once. Masato, the owner of Kamui, they make, in my opinion, fabulous tips. Really, really good tips, right? I'm not a fan of their chalk. I don't know many people that are, but each their own. We all like different things. If we all like the same thing, there would only be Coca-Cola in the world. There would only be Toyota cars or Mercedes cars or whatever. There would only be blonde, tall, leggy women. If we all like the same thing, it would be a very, very sad and uninteresting world. So I think it's great that we all like different things. I think everything within the pool industry is very much a suck it and see kind of situation where we like what we like. We can't be told what we like. I can tell you Kamiri are the best tips. I can tell you Taum is the best chalk. J Flowers are the best cues. Jam Up are the best t-shirts. But that's how I feel. That's what I think. It's not what somebody else might pick up a J Flowers cue and say, "Oh, I don't like that. I prefer the Q-Tech, or I prefer the Predator Revo." You know, it that's what's great about this sport. There's lots of different things for us to choose from. It's not just one product or one company. There's
Oh
lots of
no.
things, and we've got allegiance to certain companies for certain reasons. Maybe you like American cues because you're a red, white, and blue American, and you love your country and you're very patriotic, and you really really like American cues. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's a personal like that you have. And I think that's one of the things that's so interesting about Paul, which is gives us so much room for conversation because there's so many different products, so many different gloves, tips, chalks, shafts, butts, gadgets to help you bridge over balls, bridge mates, rail mates, um, bridges with crisscross wires in them, and extensions and aids to put on your arm to keep it straight. There's so many different little gadgets that we can
Yeah.
all we can all choose between, and we can all find, and we can talk about them. And you know, I'm not the kind of person that says, no, you've got to like this because that's what I use and they're the best. No, it's what I like. I can allow you the chance to try them and test them. If you like them, good. If not, I'll tell you another product that, I'll try this Q-Tech then. Try that. You might like that one instead. It's the trouble with the pool industry, I believe, is there's too many people within it who are only in it for themselves and what they can extract from it rather than what's good for the game. And if you're good for the game, then you're giving the public, the pool player, you're giving them as much information about everything as possible and letting them make their own choice. Whether it's what tournaments to go and play, whether it's WPA, whether it's Matchroom, it doesn't matter. So long as we're all talking about pool, we're all giving people options. That's all that matters in the sport to grow it and let people make their own choices. That's what it's all about.
Oh yeah. That's what's really neat about becoming involved with the Sneaky Pete Mafia. The exposure that I've had to, like you said, so many different products, so many different. Um, it's just a plethora of constant development. Um, After I did my article on Kamui, uh, I mean, I really learned a unique side of them that I wouldn't know if I hadn't done that article that I was able to share with the readers because it isn't just a billiard side of it. It's a philosophy. It's a lot more than just a product. There's the research and development that goes into what they do, and it's just I love learning this side of billiards and the cue sport. Meeting people like you, I I feel blessed to have this opportunity. So uh, I want to thank you for that.
No, I'm
All right,
blessed for asking me. It's really nice to be on the other side of the questions for a change, because I'm usually the
go
one
ahead.
doing the interviews, and it's nice to not have had to do any preparation for it. I just 5 minutes before 10 o'clock, I just sent you the Zoom thing, and away we go. And you ask your questions, and I'm happy to talk about everything and anything you want. I've got nothing to hide, no secrets. I'm very, very straight down the middle, and I love
Yeah,
every area of the game.
awesome. Yeah, yes. All right, let me see. What else am I looking at here? I have. Okay, so with J Flowers, when I was looking at their product line, it seems mostly the carbon fiber. Is that is that their sole line of cues, or do they have wooden, or just the
No, well,
carbon fiber?
interesting you said that, because I think I may have just mentioned it briefly earlier on. Coming out within the next couple of weeks is the SMOW, which is the SMO wood, which has carbon technology inside of it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So
I've actually,
that's nothing new as far as that concept, right? Because I haven't heard of anything else like that yet.
Yeah,
As far as
there's about there's a handful of people around the world who have got one. I've got one that I've been playing with and testing, and another Finnish pro called Kim Larksonen, who also lives here in Pattaya. Another Jay Flowers sponsored player, by the way, was Finnish champion on more than one occasion. He's got one of the SMO woods. I've got the SMO wood. There's one in America, sorry, in Canada, which I know about, and I'm sure there's a few scattered around other places, but it's not launched yet. It's 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 kind of along. It's a rival to the Predator 3143, so it's along the same kind of lines as that, but it's going to be about $80 cheaper than the Predator 314. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't say too much more about it, but it's going to be available soon. It's a great shaft, and hopefully it'll be successful in it, and it will give you know, because there are people in the world who really do still love wood, like me, but I've kind of said that I'll try the carbon, and I did. And it's the first, I mean, I'm drawing the cue ball better than I ever have done. I'm getting more spin. I'm playing really good pool at the moment. Best pool I've played probably in my life, to be honest. And I love it.
really,
I've fallen in love with playing again, you know, since I got my new equipment. And I've been down the pool hall today. I go there every day now and play for 3, 4 hours because I just love it again. And I've actually, I would go as far to say I've rekindled the love that I had for
yeah,
the game
that's
back
what
when
it
I
sounds
was
like. Yeah,
14.
that's great. Yeah, because you talk about rekindling. I mean, that's I'm sorry, I lost my thoughts there for a second.
That's
Uh,
okay.
that is something that I wish I had that exposure like you do. That's amazing. I think that I mean, is it kind of like riding a bike? I mean, as far as getting back your game like you had when you were passionate about it as a teenager, kid, and I mean, or do you still got to
I
put on the
think
time and the hours of practice?
I think however good you rode a bike when you were 14, there's nothing to say that you can't ride the bike the same when you're 64, right? Maybe
Right.
you've got a different attitude towards it now, you know, a little bit more careful. You're not pulling wheelies and you're not going 30 miles an hour down
Yeah.
hills.
Yeah.
So you're battle scarred. You've got all those kinds of things. But what I will say on the flip side of that, because I mean, I've got in Q Sports, you know, okay, I'm counting from when I was 7 till now. So 55 years of either watching, playing, coaching, talking about it, writing about it, or all of those things. You know, I've got 55 years of experience. And that's something that you can't coach it. You have to live it yourself. But I think now I'm better placed to be a better player than I ever was because you know I've spoken to sports psychologists, I've interviewed sports psychologists, I'm a more relaxed person now than I ever was. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm more clear thinking. I'm more creative. I'm more focused now when I want to practice. I don't get angry at missing balls anymore. Angry is a bit strong word, maybe, but I don't get upset when I miss balls anymore because I'm looking forward to the next shot. Okay, let's do the next one better. I think the knowledge I have now, and I'm so lucky with the job that I have, where you know I've just spent 4 days commentating on the Derby City Classic on the 9 ball. And how lucky am I? I get to watch the best players in the world and talk about it and analyze it and really study it because I'm not looking at the balls going in. I'm looking at where their head is after they've played, where where their arm is. Have they dropped the elbow? How much did they follow through? Did they quit? Did they decelerate? I'm watching all the different parts now of the game, and there's so much to the game.
Right.
There's so much more to it than people realize. But I'm actually going to do a video about this next week. It's going to be my first video in the new studio, and it's going to be called Q Sports are very, very easy, made difficult by human beings. Because the actual bare bones of it, the technical side of it is basically nothing more than choosing the angle that you want to make the ball, right? To make the ball,
Yeah.
which we can learn. We can all learn that. We can all learn any. Okay, there's that little bit of talent maybe that you have as well, but the safety side of it, the tactical side, the angles, you can learn them. You can keep playing them until you get them. If you So let's say you know the right angle that you have to hit that ball at to make it go in the pocket. You know where to hit the cue ball to make the cue ball to go where you want for the next shot, right? If you know all that and you have chosen, if you've got down on that line of that shot, your leg is on the line, your arm is on, your head is in, you're right over the center of your head, and everything is over the. I know some people are left eye dominant or right eye dominant, so they can't always get their head right over. I know but as I said before, there's lots of different ways of playing. It's not just one way, whatever suits you. But basically, if you get your cue on the line of that shot and you pull that cue back and you deliver that cue through in a nice, smooth motion, following through, keep your head down, that ball must go in that pocket. It's simple. It really is simple.
Right.
But
The basic fundamentals.
it's basic. But the problem is, of course, humans get in the way. Our mind gets in the way. We start doubting. Oh, is that? We move, we twitch, we get nervous on the big shot in a big match. There's so many other things come into it. But now it's just so easy to learn all these things. Like, with YouTube, you can go and learn how to do anything you want now. When I was a youngster playing in the pool room, it used to take me an hour to set up my big VHS video camera and get it in line and get it in focus. Then the lighting was awful. But then I'd play for an hour and I'd go home and then I'd have to put the video into the machine and hopefully you've got something that you can look at. Now you just click
Yeah.
onto YouTube. You can film yourself on your phone, go home and study yourself and watch it and see where you're going wrong. Youngsters today have got what a lovely thing to have at your disposal. A mobile phone with a camera and a tripod
Oh yeah.
and a beautiful
Well,
pool table, beautiful cue, beautiful balls, beautiful cloth. What more could you want? And just keep practicing. If you love the game, just keep practicing till your heart's content. But I would say that one of the big things, if you are showing a little bit of promise, but you're not really getting any better, you must get a coach. You need to find a coach that you can work with, that you have respect for, that you believe in, and that doesn't try to make you lose or change the parts of your game that are already good and try and remold you into them kind of thing,
all right. Yep. Yeah. That's the one thing that I've been seeing a lot. One of the players on my team, she's considered a level 3 in APA. You familiar with the
Yep,
levels in
yep,
APA?
yep.
Right? So everybody's trying to constantly coach her. You got 7, 8 guys trying to teach one person all these different techniques, different things, and it's like I let out. I don't do it because I'm like, that's too much. It's overbearing. There are basic fundamental things. Let let them learn that part of it, and then let their game evolve into who they are and their style. And you know, everybody learns differently. We learn the same things, but we all learn differently, and that's what I really like about Level Up Billiards with Chris Curtis, because as a kid, that is a phenomenal outlet for learning about the pool, competing with other teams, practicing with other teams, having you know people because in your like yesterday that pool tournament I was in. It's the pool hall we played at on Saturdays. They have a junior league there, and yesterday there was only about 6 or 7 kids. She said sometimes they get 16 or so, and so you don't have a big pool of kids to be involved with, so you get that limited structure and limited. But with Level Up, you branch out. You have national, international people, kids, to learn from. So many. I mean, what you're saying is just it's so true. Like I said, I never had all this when I was growing up. I didn't start playing until 2009, really. So, and then I played it for a lot of years, and then I worked third shift, so I couldn't play. And now I'm coming back to it. This is my third session back with the APA, and I'm I'm glad I just got re-involved with Sneaky Pete Mafia. I was involved with Garrett when he first came out. Wrote a couple articles, and then when I went to third shift, I fell away from it. Kind of like your little fall away. And now I'm back into it. I just reconnected with him last summer, and now I'm hyped up about it.
Excellent. Just going back to what you said, but when we were talking about the coaching and everyone in the team telling them,
Yes,
I
yeah,
think pool is one of the few sports where everyone becomes a coach. Everyone thinks they can be a coach, don't they?
right, yeah,
It's kind of funny.
yeah,
So yeah, you've got to beware of false prophets. You can't believe everything you hear from everybody. You need to find somebody. And I'm not saying that you should believe what I'm saying either. What I'm saying is you need to find somebody that you can work with, that you get on with, somebody that understands and accepts the talent that you've got, but knows how to work with the talent you've got rather than just try and say, right, yeah, that's as far as you've got with that. Now this is what you've got to change and this is what you've got to do. You can't do that. Imagine if somebody had said that to Shane Van Bonen. No, your wrist is too forward and it's too turned in, and your pre things are not right. And imagine telling him as a kid, no, you can't do it like that. You know, so there are some people have got so much talent and naturally talented. Okay, there's the saying, isn't there? Talent is nothing without hard work. No one works harder than Shane Van Bonen in the game. No one. Um, he's super naturally talented, but also a very, very hard worker. But would you say to your student, go watch Shane Van Bonen? That's the way you have to hold the cue. That's the way you have to deliver the cue. No, you wouldn't say that because that's Shane's way and it works for him. So you wouldn't want to be teaching his grip like this to everyone
right,
because it wouldn't work for them. Shane's got as far as he's got doing that which works for him. If you've got a guy with his arms stuck out the wrong way and he's holding the cue like this, and not, and he's got his thumb on top of the cue maybe, and he's not getting any better, then that is a player who you can say, right, so this is how you stand, this is how you make the bridge hand, this is how you hold the cue, this is how you deliver the cue. That's people that you can work with. Somebody who's, Steve Davis was never really naturally talented. He was just a sheer hard worker who'd spend 8 hours a day playing one long blue off the spot until he got it right and, became his muscle memory. And that's the way he played. But freaks of nature like Ronnie O'Sullivan, he moves too much and he's doing this with his cue and he's up and down and like this. Mark Selby for
yeah,
years moved his head. So I'm
yeah,
not saying there's one way, one right way and one wrong way. There's lots of different ways, but you've got to find a way which works for you and which helps you improve. None of us want to keep playing the game and keep doing the same thing, getting the same results, and not get any better, because then it's not an enjoyable game. Go find something else that you enjoy playing more, right?
Right, right. No, it's funny you were talking about the arm because just yesterday, uh, one of the guys that I played against, when he was warming up, that's what he was doing. He was literally getting set up and then looking back. I thought he was looking at me, but then I noticed he was looking at his positioning in his arm. He really spent a good 10 minutes, getting. I was like, I'd never seen anybody do that. And then it's interesting that you said that today
Yeah, I've got
because
my I've got my theory on that as well. You should never be thinking backwards. Okay, in your practice time and when you're doing your drills or however you practice, get a mirror, take some video of yourself, and so you can study it afterwards. But when you come to play a match, you've got to forget about all this looking back. You want to be you want to be mentally strong. You want to be thinking forward about getting that cue forward. The last thing you want to think about is what's happening back there, because as soon as you start that, then you're going to start losing something that way. And that's the way you want it. You want your focus going forwards, getting that cue through nice and smoothly through the cue ball to the object ball.
yeah, I agree. I when I first got started, I didn't have a coach, but I had a league operator. He sponsored me the first year I played in APA. He said, "You got the eye of the tiger." He goes, "Every year I pick one player that I sponsor," and he goes, "That's you." He goes, and he was a level 7. I was 3 at the time, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna." And then we would go to his house, and he would set up shots, and he goes, "Here, just take that shot, and just drill it, drill it, drill it." And that's what I did with Doctor Q on Facebook or YouTube. I would watch his 2 3 minute long drills on a laptop at break and run, and I'd watch it, and then I'd do it, watch them, and then do it. And then I was starting to beat some of the best players in the city, and everybody's like, "Man, I don't know what you're doing, Tino, but keep it up, man. Your game is shot through the roof." And I'm like, but it was also a lot of table time, drilling, 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 not just shooting. You got to have the drills instilled too, and that's what I try to tell people. You got to watch the drills. And then Philip Capel had a book called The Mind of Pool, and I learned out of that the
I love
pre-shot
Phil.
routine.
I love Phil. He's
Yeah.
he's bringing out another book very, very soon. I'm actually going to do an interview with Phil when he brings out his new book. And
Oh,
we
really?
we 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 talk, we go through periods where we talk a lot, Phil and I, because we agree on so many things coaching wise, and that maybe other people don't agree with. But Philip and I we see eye to eye on a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Well, I mean, I love his book. Well, a friend of mine that used to be on a team, my captain, he bought me that book, and I love it. I have it here, and I think that's the only pool book I have besides
I
the
tell
book
you,
about players.
he's got Phil, I think, has got 11 books. I think he's got.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I think he's
Well,
got
I
about
tell everybody
11.
about him, and I tell them about the mind of pool, uh, because it's there's some good stuff in there, and I learned a lot out of that I apply to my game that I do today. Um, I mean, there's so many different outlets for it, but I really enjoyed his book. That's a that's real pretty cool.
We've been talking nearly 2 hours, right?
What is it?
We've been talking 1 hour, 50 minutes so far.
Oh, has it? No, I didn't know. I just I didn't even notice yet. But yeah, it just did fly by, didn't it? Do you
It
still
did.
have time? Or do you need to get going?
No, I can, if you don't mind, about another tops 20 minutes, just because
Okay.
tomorrow
Oh,
I'm getting a bus to Bangkok tomorrow, because I'll tell you why. I've got a lot of commentary coming up. I've just finished 4 days doing the Derby. I've got some free time now until the 12th of February, when I do the the artistic pool world championships for 3 days till the night
Okay.
till the 15th. Then on the 19th, I start 10 days solid of the Vegas tournaments that I told you about. This Q Sports International Expo from the Rio. I'm doing that remote as well, and that's 10 full on days from like. And don't forget, the world is upside down for me. I'm on commentating Vegas time, but here in Thailand, and it's like
Oh, wow,
13 hours difference. So
yeah.
it's pretty full on. It's a pretty brutal schedule, but I love it. I wouldn't, it beats digging holes and being on the construction site, which I've spent plenty of years doing. And there's no way I want to go
Okay.
back to doing that. So I don't care how many hours I do commentary for. And then after that, I'm off to Finland for a matchroom ranking event for the Town V10 Helsinki Open. Then I'm off to Morocco for a ultimate pool tournament. And then I've just heard today from Kelly Fisher that hopefully I'm going to be going to America in July to do the Women's World 8 Ball Championships, which has just been developed. So it's going to be a Women's World 8 Ball Championships in July.
Wow.
So yeah,
Congratulations, man.
thank you. I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So it's busy times, and I'm
You on
back
site?
back to Morocco again. I think I'm in Morocco 4 times this year for snooker because I commentate snooker as well. I do snooker, Chinese 8 ball, and ultimate pool. I know ultimate pool is becoming very big now in America.
Yeah. What do you think about that ultimate pool?
I like it. I mean, it's a bit different here. It's a bit different in England and Europe and Africa than it is in America because you've gone straight for the 7 foot diamond bar box tables or Brunswicks, whichever ones are sponsoring it at the time. You're using the American pool balls, where the ultimate pool original is with the smaller
Red
white
and
ball and the
orange,
smaller
red
yellow
and
and
yellow.
reds. Yeah, reds and yellows.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
basically, in my opinion, it's bar box 8 ball with a shot clock. That's it.
Right. Well, and that was one of the things that I didn't know because I have a friend here that started the Ultimate League, and I didn't know initially that that's what they did. They had the red and yellow balls. So that's in my mind, that's what I thought we were going to be using when the league
Yeah.
started. But then they used the regular balls that are already on the table.
They just decided not to change it because that's what Americans play on. They've never played on the smaller tables with the smaller cue ball and the smaller reds and yellows. So, if you're trying to launch a new sport, and the concept is good, the shot clock with that cuts
Right.
down after,
Yeah.
goes down
I like
from,
that part of it.
yeah, that's really good. And the 6 red shootout is very good, or the 6 ball shootout is very, very exciting as well. I think it's going to take America by storm. It's right up your street, the Americans. You love it. You love fast, furious, quick result. You don't like draws. You don't like things going on for too long. Let's get a result. And that's what Ultimate Pool brings. It's right. It's great. It's exciting. It's thrilling. It's dramatic. It's a really, really exciting alternative to normal American 8 ball and a bar box.
Yeah. Now, on that note, one of the questions I had for you, because you're there in Thailand, and they over there they play what's called hay ball, right?
Um, it's a Chinese game. It's not Thai. We are starting to get tables here now, but it's not very popular here now.
Okay, because
No.
that's what I didn't hear that name for pool tournaments until the last year or so, in a hay ball, and I'm like, what's hay ball? And then I looked it up yesterday, and I go, oh, okay, it's a
Hay ball is
Chinese.
it's called hay ball because eight in Chinese is hay, so they call it hay ball.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
That's
I'm like,
it.
what?
That's
But
it.
then I mean, it is a little bit different than the eight ball that we play here in the United States. Uh, but okay,
Now
I just wanted to ask about.
that is a difficult game. That is That's snooker pockets, not basically a shrunk snooker table, a 9 foot snooker table with snooker pockets, but using American pool balls, bigger balls. So that is a super tough game. It's napped cloth as well. It's a fully wool cloth. It's got hairs on it that go from the kitchen end down to the top end. The nap runs that way. The table reacts differently coming against the nap than it does going with the nap. There's lots more variables in it. It's almost impossible, not impossible, but virtually to send a ball down the rail into the pockets. So it's a different strategy. You're always trying to knock balls off of rails, whereas in American pool, on a 9 foot American table, a ball down the rail is absolutely nothing. You can slam them in at 100 miles an hour if you want. So it's a very, very interesting game. It kind of combines snooker, pool, English pool, and American pool all in one. So it's kind of fits the bill for, it caters to everybody really. But it's a very
Right.
difficult game. But it's getting more and more popular. And as soon as the tables get into the different countries, then it will take the world by storm. And it's guaranteed to be the first ever cue sport in Olympics. Guaranteed.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
because
Yeah.
they're putting lots of money into it. It's got great etiquette. It follows the standards of the Olympic ideal. It's fantastic. And by the way, there's something else I want to say about cue sports. There's no matter where you are around the world, if you play any kind of cue sport, you've always got a friend in any place you go around the globe because
Yeah,
it's such a big family, and we all understand each other's pains. We all long for that beautiful long pot that's going to crack into the back of the pocket. We're all searching for the same thing. We all love our league. We love our league nights. We love the social side of it. We love the competitiveness of it. We love, it helps us with social skills as well about getting out there and meeting people and bringing yourself. You might be very shy, introvert person at home who doesn't really mix too well with people. But if you go and play pool, even if you're on your own in the corner of a room, there's always going to be somebody that talks to you. You're always going to make friends. You're always going to have a bed for the night. Wherever you go in the world, we all stick together in that thing. We're all
that
wanting and feeling the same emotions.
you are so accurate in saying that. Because that's one of the things I've been finding. One of the guys I put on one of my teams, that's why he came out to play pool, so he could meet people. Because his one of his sisters or told him you need to get involved socially so you can start meeting people. And that's why I asked him when he came out. I said, "So, what made you start playing pool?" And he goes, "Well, I needed to become more social." My sister said, and I thought
Oh,
this would be a good way. And I was
oh.
like, "Oh wow, that's awesome." But yeah, anytime I go anywhere and go into a pool hall in any city, I meet people and share the neatest stories, and it's really I've been really 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 benefit. What's the word I'm saying? I've had so many outlets to be able to meet people in the realm of pool, and the stories that I find out, how people got their cues, who they got to shoot against, pool halls they played in. It's all just it's so interesting, those stories.
You're absolutely right. What other sport can you go and stand right by them and watch them up close and personal? You can play a game against them. You can grab their autograph. You can spend time talking to them.
Yeah.
These massive stars who, in the pool world, they're big, but they could be walking around. If you're not a pool player, the world champion would never be known. They're not that well known outside of the pool industry. But the good thing about our sport is that the players are so accessible. And I would say 99.9, if not 100% of players will always give you time, will always have a chat with you, will always talk about their cues, how they got started, give you a little tip on how to improve. take a selfie with them. But they are fantastic, and we're so lucky in this sport where imagine doing that at the Ryder Cup or something, going up to going to a big golf tournament and walking alongside them,
Right.
and you just don't do it. It doesn't happen in the other sports. We're so lucky,
No.
and the players are so giving of their time. Even at times
Yeah.
when they've just been beaten and they've missed a sitting nine or whatever, and all they want to do is get back to their room and cry. But they've always got time, and you see that at Vegas where there's a total of 6,000, let's say 5 or 6,000 cueists, all under one roof, all with the same objective, potting balls. And never mind whether you're an APA one or a BCA two, whatever handicap you are, you can mix with the pros. And for that 10 days, you're in a pool heaven where you've got access to these fabulous players, the best players in the world. It's a
Yep.
beautiful sport.
Oh,
We're so lucky. We really are so lucky.
and that's the other aspect of it. Watching them, that level of player in live, and you really do. I learn a lot from watching them. Just watching the videos, watching them live on YouTube or whatever. Uh, and I tell people this that I play pool with. You gotta watch them. You can't just play pool and think you're gonna know what you're doing. So you gotta. There's so many variables and so many things you pick up on just eyeing in on their game, like you said, the way they shoot, the way
Do
they
you know
grab, the way they fall through.
one thing I would say to any pool fan who's never been to watch a live pro tournament, go do it, because there's something so beautiful about watching a player live and listening to the way he strokes the cue ball. They don't hit hard, they stroke it, they caress it. And on TV, you don't always get that because the microphone doesn't pick up, it picks up clonks and bangs, and
Right.
it doesn't pick up that beautiful. One thing I can remember going to my first ever snooker match. It was called the Tolly Cobbold Classic in Ipswich, the nearest Ipswich, near Colchester, where I lived. Every year, this tournament, and all the top eight players used to be in it, and I went there and just listening to the way that they don't hit the ball and how soft they hit it and how much action they get on the cue ball. Do yourselves a favour. If there's a tournament in your area and there's some big players there, just go watch it, because you'll get something from that you'll never get from the TV. Honestly, you will. It's
Right.
just that
Exactly.
beautiful, sweet sound, and just watch the ease where they just stroke the ball around, and it's just beautiful. There's no better sight or sound, really.
Yeah, that's why I really wish I would have had the opportunity to go down to the Derby City Classic because it's in southern Indiana. I mean, it's about 4 hours, 4.5 hours from me, but I didn't plan for it, so I wasn't able to go. But I did have some friends here in Fort Wayne that went down there, and they loved it. Yeah, and then some other friends of mine that went to the Moscone Cup, and yeah, people, like you said, you got to if you can, you got to go to see those. It's just totally different environment.
Do you
It's
know,
within the sport.
20 in 2022, I I knew the big ones, the big tournaments, and I wanted to go to all of them. The classics, the age old tournaments where and visit the pool rooms, the famous iconic pool rooms. And I was so lucky in 2022, where my work allowed me to travel a lot around the states. And in that year, I went to the US Open. I went to the Moscone Cup. I went to the International. I went to the Derby City Classic. I went to Amsterdam Billiards. I went to so many great pool rooms around America. and got to watch so many great players up close and live. And I that was they were like my bucket list items. That was my pyramids. That was my Taj Mahal, my Kilimanjaro, my China, the Great Wall of China. They were my bucket list items, and I got to do them in that 1 year. And I'm so glad I did it. And one more bucket list item, I'm going to actually next year go and play in the Derby City Classic. I'm going to go and play the 9 ball event while I'm there. I just, it's just nine, I think it's 9 days. Is it 9 or 10 days? 9 or 10 days, or 8 or 9 days of absolute pool pleasure. It's just 24 hours a day, if you want, of
Right.
action. Everyone's there. Anyone is there. They're all there for one reason: the love of Q Sports. There's loads of fans there. It's just a fantastic. Um, it's like a mecca for Paul. That those days in southern Indiana at that Caesars Casino is just absolutely unbelievable. It really is a must do for any pool enthusiast. Wherever you are, you've got to make that. Forget the Taj Mahal. Go to the Derby City Classic.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was one of the big things I read about when I have the one book I read that was a big tournament for pool players. When pool was in its heyday and from the 1920s, 1960s, 70s, uh, pool has really evolved, and there's just so many great stories and so many great people that have played and shared their life, and uh, I really appreciate your time and having the opportunity to meet talk with you.
Thank you.
One last thing I was going to tell you. Hold on. Um,
We're coming up to
all
two.
right.
We're coming up to. We're 2 minutes to midnight here, and at midnight, I don't turn into a
Yeah.
pumpkin. I turn into a cue ball.
Oh
So
no, we're going to sign off. I'm. What was I going to tell you? I have one thing. Yeah. Okay, so on this interview, because this is my first time ever doing a Zoom ever in my life.
wow.
And I appreciate you recording it, and then once you send it to me, I'm gonna go through it again and with my headphones on so I can hear it. Because when my headphones cut off because it on the microphone on here, so I couldn't do them both. But I can still hear you pretty good with my hearing aids. But when I go back and rewatch it, then I'm gonna make notes, and then I'm gonna send a follow up email to you that I would like to be able to include that in what I'm going to be writing as well. That's
Sure.
that's part of my process.
Would
Uh,
you have any objection to this being a visual interview as well on SPM at some point?
no,
I think we
no, it
should
would
do
be
both. I think we should have this as well because you know, I love reading, I love writing, but I think the written word is unfortunately becoming less and less popular these days. So many people now
right.
want to watch videos and listen to audio books rather than do too much work by reading. I'm not saying people don't read anymore, but I just think people do like to watch as well. So it'd kind of be nice if maybe Kat can do some of her magic on this and edit it out a bit, and maybe we can make a nice video out of it, but we can bring
Yeah,
out after your written interview. That would
yeah,
kind of be nice. What
absolutely.
do you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the one, like you're saying, people like to watch it, hear it, see it. So uh, that's the one thing that. But there are the readers out there, so yeah, we still got to
Yeah, of course.
apply and hear them. But oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say. Now, if you ever need a protege, I'm right here. If you ever need somebody to, you know, I don't know where, because you said in 1989 that you were what, 27,
Yes.
and I was graduating high school, so I was 18 years old, and I'm like, hey, I might be able to combine my efforts with him, other than writing, and get involved on the commentating side, and learn the ropes and kind of grow into that.
Listen,
That'd be
I
something cool.
I I was very lucky. I was given lots of breaks along the way in what has become a really nice career for me, and I get lots of people and sending me stuff, their commentary, exactly like I used to do, which which I'm so grateful for because it means they value my opinion and they think, they want to show me what they can do. And, if you look around the world, there's just not enough commentators. There needs to be more commentators. So I would love to. I'm not saying I'm I'm not saying I'm a great commentator. What I'm saying is I believe I have a unique style of commentary, and I would kind of like to help bring on other people as well for the future because I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
commentary is an art, and it's not an easy job to do. It does take a special kind of person, and or take special skills, I should say. Uh, so I'm more than willing to, entertain other people wanting to join me in the booth for a rack here, a match there, that kind of thing. So who knows what the future holds?
Right. Yeah.
To
Well, I
me,
just thought I'd put it out there. But,
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, have you done any commentary?
I'm sorry.
Have you done?
What
You'll
was
have to shave that beard off though, because the headsets that we have to wear with the mic round there, that all
it?
we
Oh
hear
yeah.
is
Yeah. No, it's coming off. I got to do it. I don't.
the beard's
It's
got to
hard for me to
go.
do it because it took a while to get used to it, and now I'm used to it. Now I got to take it back down.
I
But it's a
always
part
I
of.
I always wanted a beard, but I just couldn't get through the itchy stage. Like
Right. Yeah.
I've got 3 days growth here. That'll be coming off tomorrow morning because I'm going to Bangkok tomorrow and I'm going to relax in a nice hotel, eat some nice food. I'm not going to do any cooking myself. I'm not going to play any pool. I'm going to go to some pool rooms and talk to people and watch a couple of tournaments going on, I guess. But I'm getting away from it, which is why I wanted to do this today, so that then tomorrow my mind is hasn't got to think about pool if I don't want to. Of course I will.
Right.
But I mean, I haven't got anything to do now until the 12th of February. So I'm going to go away, keep my swimming, keep my eating nice food, have a little break from the pool, and then come back nice and refreshed, ready for a very, very busy schedule of commentating for the next few months.
Well, good deal. Yeah, you have a good time doing that. That sounds fun. Uh, and be safe out there. But yeah, I've all right. So I'll go ahead and let you get back to what you got to do. I know it's late there, and I've got to I've got to do some things here that I need to do before I go to pool league. But
2 hours,
I
two
do.
hours, 9 minutes, Tino. 2 hours, 9 minutes. We better say good night. You say good night
Well,
first.
and you know what's weird? I could do this for hours still with you talking with you.
I know, me
But
too.
yeah, I would say
Me too.
Sawade. How do I say that? Did I say it all right?
Sawadee Cup.
Sawade Kop.
Cup kun cup is thank you. Cup kun cup.
Sawade Kop. Yeah, because yeah, I listened to the lady say it on the video. I was like, oh, all right, cool. But yeah, I wanted to be able to say that to you. All right, brother. Well, hey,
I
thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much.
Thank you.
You
Thank
have
you.
a good night, and I'll send you a follow up email, and then after I get that sent, and we'll go from there. I'm trying to get this in the issue this month, but it might not make it this issue. I'm trying to, but if it doesn't, it will be the cover story for the next issue.
Come on,
But
you've got to make
because
this issue. I've got people waiting
yeah,
for this. I've got a lot riding on this. We've got to do it this because now it's hot with my new sponsors and everything. I want to get it out this month. Come on.
all right, yeah, all right. I'm gonna hustle and do everything I can to get it to them. So what I'll do, I'll check out that video after I get it and send you the email, and then I can get it all put together.
I'll stay up half an hour longer tonight and I'll make sure you'll have to send me an email because I don't have your email address. Send me an email and I will send this interview by WeTransfer. I'm going to have to download it, which will take probably 20, 30 minutes, right? And I'll send it over
Okay.
to you by WeTransfer. And then all you got to do is click on it and then you can save it. All right.
Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. All right. That'll work. Thank you very much. All right. You have a good night. I
See
will
you,
send
mate.
it.
Bye,
Bye.
Tino. Good luck. Good luck at league. Ta-da, mate. Bye bye.
Thank you. 8 ball, 9 ball.
Eight
All
ball and
right.
nine ball. Huh?
Uh,